The following is a RackRadioShow.com exclusive.
And welcome back to The Rack right here on WildTalkRadio.com. Brought to you by our friends over at Wrestling Figure Wednesdays. Go to youtube.com/MBD1211 for all your stop-motion wrestling action figure needs. Joining us right now is the man who has gone from being a bad influence to a full-on addiction. He's one half of the ROH Tag Team Champions, Christopher Daniels. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm great, like chocolate cake. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Well, chocolate cake is awesome, and so are you.
I'm right.
So, I have to know, you won an award at the Cauliflower Alley Club this year. Have you found a nice spot for it yet?
It is on my mantelpiece, surrounded by all the other myriad of awards I've won over the course of my career. So it's in good company.
It's in good company?
Yes.
So, all right. Well, you're here to talk to us today all about your upcoming appearances with Ring of Honor, including the Dream Match. Everybody's talking about it. You and Frankie versus Joe and AJ.
Yep.
Are you excited for it?
Absolutely. We've traveled together, myself, Frankie, Joe, and AJ. In one way, shape, or form, the four of us have traveled and shared locker rooms for more than a decade. But this will be the first time, and now the only time, that all four of us have ever been in the same match. So I know I'm looking forward to it. I know Frankie's looking forward to it. So and I know that, more importantly, the Ring of Honor fan base is looking forward to it. It's one match, as far as I know.
So, with it being one of Joe's last indie appearances and his last appearance in ROH, is there more pressure on you guys to put on a great match, or because you guys know each other so well, you're just going to kind of go in there and do your thing?
Yeah, definitely that. I mean, I think the pressure that's there is self-inflicted. Like, we know what we're capable of. We know how good, Frankie and I know how good of a team we are. And we know that despite the fact that Joe and AJ don't really tag or aren't really considered a full-time tandem, like, we know how good they are as well. So I know how good we can make this match. And so any pressure that we have is completely self-inflicted. It's self-imposed by us.
Right.
We want to go out there and make a match that people are going to remember for years. And I think there's definitely, especially now that Joe's future is sort of more concrete, it's good to know that this will be like the last Ring of Honor match that he has, and it's a way for all of the three of us to sort of.
So is it weird for you that he signed with WWE? Or are you excited for him, or I mean, kind of what are your thoughts on that?
I'm thrilled for him. I'm happy for him, and I'm glad that he's sort of paving a way for a lot of different people. I think in the next year or so, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are sort of following that same lead. And truthfully, like, Joe wasn't the first one. When Kevin Owens went to the WWE, or when Finn Balor went to the WWE, I feel like there's a lot more guys that are going to be brought to the WWE, whether it's through NXT or directly to the main roster. I think there are going to be a lot of guys that have been on the independents that have been honing their craft for a while that are finally going to get that opportunity to be there. So I'm thrilled for him. Joe's been one of my best friends for a long time, and you can't help but be happy and be proud of someone who's worked as hard as he has to finally get that opportunity to show the world on the main stage what kind of professional wrestler that he is.
Right. And do we think we could see you follow suit soon?
I've never said never. I don't. Right now, I'm sort of I'm full-time committed to Ring of Honor, but I mean, I don't know what the future holds in terms of that. So all I can say is wait and see.
Well, you mentioned another great ROH champion in Kevin Owens, and he's made his debut. He's kind of in between rosters right now, or he's on his way up to the main roster. How do you feel about him? Do you think he's going to do okay? Do you think they're not maybe doing what they're supposed to with him? Or
I think he's doing just fine. It would be really hard pressed to find someone who debuted on the WWE main roster as successfully as he has in the past 10 years. I think. I mean, you name anybody whose first WWE match, like main roster match, was a pinfall victory over John Cena. I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone other than Kevin that's done that.
Right, especially in the spectacular fashion that he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with you going to ROH and you've kind of left TNA and moved forward, do you feel that you've been given more freedom in the ring with ROH?
I think so. I think that definitely Frankie and I, both of us, have been given the freedom to sort of do what we can do best. And especially in the last couple months with the angle with the KRD and what's happened with us in the World Tag Team Championship, I feel like we're finally kind of showing what we can do best. And with such a deep tag team roster like Red Dragon and the Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice and the Decade, like I feel like there's a lot of fresh matches for us with us as the tag team champions and us as heels again. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities for great matchups, and I'm looking forward to all of them.
I was going to say, you've got another matchup on June 19th at Best in the World with Red Dragon.
Right, for the Best in the World pay-per-view, for a no disqualification match. And, we've had a lot of matches with Red Dragon already, but I feel like now that the story's turned with us with the championships, I feel like there's a whole new chapter that we can write. And, those guys are one of the best tag teams in the world. And, I feel like we're a great antagonist for those guys. So I feel like no matter what happens on June 19th, I feel like there's a lot more that we can do as well. In the story between the Addiction and Red Dragon. Absolutely.
And would you say this has been a more fun run for you? Because I know you were in ROH before, and then you obviously went to TNA, and now you're back. Has this been a more fun, better run for you, or have they been kind of equal?
They've been kind of equal. I will say that the positive to this is having Frankie with me. When I was in Ring of Honor in 2010, 2011, I left the company as the television champion, doing a lot of single stuff. But this time having Frankie with me, and this is really Frankie's first long-term exposure with Ring of Honor. I feel like we fit in really well, and I'm real happy that Frankie's had that opportunity. One of the things, like when we left TNA, I knew that there was a possibility that I could go back to Ring of Honor. I didn't necessarily know that there would be a full-time spot. Just because I had the history, it didn't necessarily mean that there was room for me, because that locker room is so full of talented guys and guys that are passionate about, making their names on that national scale that Ring of Honor has. I wasn't sure if there was going to be a spot for me, and I certainly didn't know if there was going to be a spot for me and Frank. But we were both very fortunate that Ring of Honor had that spot for us, and I feel like we filled that spot very well. And now that we're the World Tag Team Champions of the world, like I said, there's a lot of fresh matchups for us as the champions, a lot of great challengers for the tag titles, and I think that the tag team scene in Ring of Honor is just now heating up now that we're in the spot that we're in.
And you're going to get even more exposure as ROH has now moved to Destination America. In addition to being on Sinclair, you guys are now on Destination America. Were you excited when that announcement happened? Or
Absolutely. I feel like one of the things that I wanted to see happen coming back to Ring of Honor, as strong as the syndication with Sinclair has been, I felt like one of the difficulties was trying to let people know, like a uniform time and date that Ring of Honor could be on. Like usually, you'd say check your local listings or check the syndicated, but now we can tell people if they want to watch Ring of Honor, go to Destination America Wednesdays at 8, 7 Central. So I feel like we've opened up a lot of new eyes on our product. In addition to the amount of eyes that we had through the syndication, I just feel like this opens up more doors for us, and it gets a lot more people aware of us, and that's definitely a great thing for Ring of Honor.
Is it weird to be competing or be the lead-in for TNA on Destination America?
No, absolutely not. I feel like, the comparisons between Ring of Honor and TNA, whatever creatively, whatever path that both companies have taken in the last, 13, 14 years, one of the similarities has always been that they've both always had great locker rooms full of great talent, and talent that always wanted to, make a statement, make an impact, no pun intended, on the wrestling scene. So, I mean, the fact that we're now on the same night and that we're at 8 o'clock and they're at 9 o'clock, it's really a win-win situation, not just for both companies, but also for the wrestling. I feel like, the people that have always wanted an alternative to the WWE product, now they've got it all in one spot. They've got it on Destination America on Wednesday night. And, in addition to the great guys that we've got, get a chance to see guys like Eric Young and Austin Aries and Bobby Roode, who are, friends of mine, and I'm always happy to see their success grow.
Absolutely. Now, switching gears slightly, do you think that social media is an effective tool to promote wrestling storylines?
I don't know about wrestling storylines. I certainly feel like it's a great way to get more people aware of what might be happening on a show. But sometimes it's difficult to, push a storyline as a character when on social media people assume that you're speaking as the real person. So, sometimes it's hard to blur those lines between wrestling character and, the person that you are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I personally find it, I don't like to speak in wrestling character, so to speak. Like I'll certainly poke fun or do something in character, but I don't necessarily, cut wrestling promos through Twitter or on my Facebook. I just feel like sometimes it feels forced.
Right. And it may not be understood.
Yeah, exactly. You see how often people are misconstrued or words are taken out of context, just in regular life, in regular interviews and things like that. But imagine at 140 characters how easy it is to misunderstand the intention of people talking on Twitter. So
absolutely. And now, kind of shifting back to ROH, is there anybody that you're looking forward to getting in the ring with? Aside from Red Dragon and aside from Joe and AJ, is there like another team that you're super excited to face?
Look, the truth of the matter is, in the last year, we've had the opportunity to wrestle pretty much everybody in the tag team division in Ring of Honor. But having said that, I feel like the difference now is, as champions, there's a whole different mindset. So I'm really looking forward to going back around the horn, so to speak. But at the same time, like, one of the teams that I think is going to open a lot of eyes on the American team, they've already done so in Japan, is Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta. We had a three-way match on the last pay-per-view that we had, the War of the Worlds pay-per-view. And I feel like it's just a matter of them getting more bookings with Ring of Honor in the States, that I think people are going to understand that Rocky and Trent are another great tag team, one of many in Ring of Honor. So those guys are definitely guys that I hope we get an opportunity to work one team versus one team in the future.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. So do you have a favorite Samoa Joe or AJ Styles memory that you wouldn't mind sharing with us, since, the big match on the 20th is coming up?
Well, it's hard to say. Like, honestly, the entire last decade, being close with AJ, being close with Joe, being close with Frankie like we are, the four of us, we spent a lot of time in the TNA locker room. We spent a lot of time on the road. And now the last couple of years, we've had the opportunity to travel, in and out of each other's lives. So, honestly, that whole period of time, like, I look back and know that my friendships and my relationships with those three guys really supported me through my career, and definitely helped me out. As far as matches go, I certainly have to say, like, the match, the first three-way match that we did, that Joe and AJ and I did at TNA, that certainly stands out. But that's one of, like, 100 great matches that I feel like either Joe, AJ, myself, or a myriad of the three of us have had. So, it's hard to narrow it down to one memory. Just the entire time has been a great memory for me, knowing that those guys are my friends and have my back whenever I need them.
Right. And that's awesome to be able to have friends like that, especially in what you do, because sometimes it could be really cutthroat and people aren't necessarily looking out for you. They're looking out for yourselves. So it's nice to have those kind of people around you. Yeah,
I'm very fortunate. And I've had being in the rings with AJ and Joe in the last, decade, that's certainly given me that opportunity to have more people aware of our product and aware of our skills, because, 9 times out of 10, when people talk about TNA or Ring of Honor, they're talking about guys like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, and the matches that I've had with both of those guys. It's usually high on the list of what people remember, whether it's Ring of Honor or TNA.
Right. I can agree with that. So I want to completely shift gears, because I know you're a comic book guy, and I live in Atlanta, and they've been shooting Marvel Captain America Civil War here.
Oh, okay.
So I want to know what your thoughts are on the rumors that Spider-Man may be appearing in Civil War.
I think it's awesome. The past with Marvel, going bankrupt in the past, sort of selling off the rights to the characters to Fox. At the time it was great for Marvel, because it ended up having the X-Men movies with the first 2 Bryan Singer movies, and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man stuff. But I feel like, with the success of Marvel's stuff through the Marvel Studios, all the Avengers movies, I feel like, it's in the best interest for the characters and for Marvel as a whole to have the possibility to have all of the characters at their disposal. So, I mean, it's very cool for the idea that Spider-Man's going to be in Civil War, that, maybe the X-Men will come back around and do stuff with the Avengers. I mean, these are all great possibilities that if you're a comic book fan, it just gets you really excited to think that you might be able to see something on the movie screen that you'd only previously read about in the comic book.
Right. Now, which Spidey would you like to see in your mind? Who would you like to see play him?
Oh, I don't, you know what, I thought Andrew Garfield did a really great job in the last two Spider-Man movies. And I think that the way that the last two movies were, it really harkened back to sort of the Ultimate Spider-Man more than, like, to me, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man was more like the regular Marvel Universe Spider-Man. And the last two, The Amazing Spider-Man and, 1 and 2, that Mark Webb directed, I felt like those were a lot more like the Ultimate Spider-Man. So it depends. I'm not sure what route they're going to go when they do, if they put Spider-Man into these, when they put him into these movies. And I'm not even sure who's going to play him. Hear the rumors of the kid from Ender's Game as Asa Butterfield. So I have no idea who they finally decided on, and it'll be interesting to see who they pick and how they progress.
Definitely. And just kind of one last question. What were your thoughts on Age of Ultron? Have you seen it yet?
I did. I saw it twice the weekend it came out. So
wow.
I really dug it. I thought it was really good stuff, and it was hard to. I thought it was going to be very difficult to be as good as the first one, and I don't think it was, but I certainly thought that it definitely stood up next to it, and I thought it was a really great second movie. And the way they ended with sort of a new roster, it sort of opens a lot of new doors for the third one, and actually the third and fourth one, the Infinity War, that's coming in a couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see where they go now that they've sort of ended what they call phase 2 and they're moving on to phase 3. It'll be interesting to see what progresses through not just the Captain America movie, the Thor movie, the next whatever Iron Man stuff comes through, but also the Avengers stuff and the stuff that hasn't even things like Doctor Strange and the Ant-Man and things like that. It'll be interesting to see how all this sort of ties together in the future.
Right. And I'm looking forward to it. Sounds like you're looking forward to it too.
Absolutely.
So, Chris, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, everybody. Don't forget, you can see Christopher Daniels and his partner Frankie Kazarian in action live on pay-per-view June 19th for Best in the World, along with seeing them compete in the Dream Tag Team match on June 20th against AJ Styles and Samoa Joe at Aftershock TV tapings in New York City. So, Chris, once again, thank you so much.
Thanks again for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for everybody for listening and for the support. I appreciate it.
And best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. I don't need it, but thank you.
You're welcome.